Hello all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, whichever you're thinking right now. Lesson 12, Section 11, Chapter 12, Section 11, using systems of equations. Now let's go ahead and review the previous assignment, page 355, numbers 9 through 20. Pause. Come on back when you're ready. I got a few more graphs coming up next. 15 through 18. 19 and 20. All right, folks. Gonna use what we were just doing, right? So let's take a look at how to solve a system and use it for real life problems such as Jose and Danny's ages. The sum of those ages is 55. Kind of looks like this. Jose is 17 older than Danny. Kind of looks like this. Can we find their ages? Now, we're going to focus on graphing, but sooner or later, you're going to use two methods called substitution and elimination. You'll learn those in algebra class next year. But for now, let's get into some graphs. So we're going to go ahead and actually do some problems from homework together. So go ahead and pause your paper. I'm going to hand out a worksheet in class. If you're at home, go ahead and grab a Kami paper or any scrap paper will be fine. But I got the Kami document available to you. Pause, come on back when you're ready. So we take a look at the assignment, and I'm afraid I'm not going to read it word for word. We're going to cut things a little early. We're going to come up with two equations here. So let me use my colors again. First part of the equation, it says the sum of two numbers is 22. Some number, which we'll call the first number, added together with the number we'll call the second number, is 22. Now, in this case, it also says the first number is 8 more than the second. So the first number is 8 more. Now, careful, I'm not going to start with 8. It's 8 more than what? So we actually start with the S number. So folks, the very first part of solving any kind of problem is to come up with two examples. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a T-chart and then plot some points and of course draw a line through it. Please notice while Mr. Cowan usually really likes to start with 0, 0 plus 22 would make 22, and well, that's kind of off the graph. So in this particular case, I'm going to choose not to use 0. How about we start with 2? And 2 plus what number is 22? Well, that second number must be 20. And then we'll go ahead and plot that point on our graph here. Now, at this point, we can pick any other F numbers, but let's go ahead and not exceed 20 because check this out. The F number will only go through 20, although we could have made a bigger graph. Meanwhile, 20 plus what number is 22? Well, that number would have to be 2. And so we can graph when the F first number is 20, the S second number is 22. Now we can come up with any number in between. I'm going to try to make some nice ones. For instance, 10 is pretty easy. 10 plus what number? 10 plus what number is 22? Well, the second number must be 12. So when the F first number is 10, I'm going to follow that up. The S second number must be 12. What about 6? 6 plus what is 22? Well, that number would be 16. So 6, 16, and there we go. Now, while folks, I have a whole lot of numbers drawn right now, can I just point out, please, why am I having a, there's my magic pen, that really there are billions and billions and billions and billions of points. And yeah, we only chose integers, but that doesn't mean we couldn't come up with a fraction of an answer. For instance, 10.5 plus 11.5 would make 22. So we are going to draw a line, and this is going to be kind of tedious from my end. So if you'll forgive me for taking a moment, I want to make sure that you get something that is nice and straight and good. Drawing a line directly through those points. Yes, we could keep going. That includes numbers that are negative, right? So we could go past the y-axis and the x-axis. Sorry, I didn't draw that above the y-axis, past the y-axis. All right, now let's go ahead and get into the second equation, which I'll use blue here, where the first number is equal to s, the second number, plus 8. Now, again, usually I write this, and I start with 0. But what number plus 8 is 0? Well, that would be negative, and, well, we don't have that on our present graph. So let's go ahead and change that up. In fact, I'm going to actually, oddly enough, choose the s numbers first. See, I'm not really a big fan of this assignment yet, in that I think we should have switched these axes. The first number depends upon the second, but that's okay. Let's just write it. So if we substitute 0 in for s, 0 plus 8 is 8. And we can now graph the point 0, 8, and there is one set of an ordered pair, an f value and an s value, that would make the statement true. What if we substituted in 2 now for the s second number? 2 plus 8 is 10. Oi, Mr. Callan, I just wrote the wrong point. 8, 0 would be where f is 8 and s is 0. 10, 2, when the f first number is 10, the s second number is 2. All right, what if s is 4? 4 plus 8 is 12. So when f is 12, s is 4. And naturally, if we substitute in 6, 6 plus 8 is 14. So when f is 14, s is 6. Now we're going to go ahead and draw a line here. I'm just going to change the color slightly. Yes, we could go past the x-axis. But in this case, ladies and gents, we already see that beautiful, where does the red meet the blue? Where is the purple? Where is the point that works for both? And it would appear that f is 15 and s would be 7. So for my answer, I'm going to say f, the first number, must be 15, and s, the second number, must be 7. Now a little disappearing ink here, because you can always take these and substitute them in. If we put in 15, oi, didn't mean to do that. Let's refresh that. If we substituted in 15 for f and 7 for s, true or false? Well, 15 plus 7 is 22. And once again, if we substitute 15 and 7, true or false? Well, 7 plus 8 is 15. So you can always check it to make sure it works. And in this case, it does. Now, I'm going to challenge you to go right next door to number 6. I want you to look at number 5. I want you to see how number 6 is a little the same and a little different. Pause your video, come on back when you're ready to check your answer. So I hope by now you've come up with 2 equations that are going to be slightly similar to what we have over on the first one. And when you come up with those 2 equations and you graph the lines, you should get the first number is 9 and the second number is 14. So pause if you want to go back and check your work. If you have any questions, bring some questions to me. Let's keep on going with number 7. So I'm going to take a look at number 7. We're going to see some similarities. We're going to see some differences here. First similarity is we start off with a sum statement. If you read number 7 carefully, and you're welcome to pause, read it on your own, it says that the sum of 2 numbers, the first number and the second number, when added together, will be 24. Well, gee, that's awfully similar to that first problem we did. What about the second statement, though? The second statement, it says that the first number is 3 times as big as the second number. You don't have to write the dot if you don't wish. So that is going to look a little different than what we did. But let's come back to the blue and do the red first. Now again, you know, Mr. Callan, I usually like f to start off with 0, but in this case, 0 plus 24 is 24, and that is way off the graph. So let's not do 0. So what's the biggest number s we could have? Well, biggest number is 20. So what number plus 20 is 24? So we can now plot the point 4, 20, and that is pretty much the first point we can get to fit on this coordinate plane. And then likewise, we could switch it up. The biggest f we can get is 20. So 20 plus what? 20 plus 4. And now we have at least 2 points. Now, some of you might be tempted to stop there and just to graph what we got, but remember, if we made any mistake with either of these points, we're going to draw a line through it and we'll never know. So let's pick a few more points. I tend to pick nice, pretty even numbers. If I substitute 6 in for f, 6 plus what is 24? Well, that second number would have to be 18. So when the f first number is 6, the s second number must be 18. All right, what about 10? We like 10. 10 plus what? That would be 14. So 10 plus 14. And now we can go ahead and draw our graph. Draw our line, excuse me. I suppose I could have made that a little bigger, but you get the point. All right, onward to blue, where f, the first number, is going to be 3 times the second. Now again, usually we input the f value, but in this case, let's go ahead and just input some s values. So if we have 0, 3 times 0 is 0, right at the origin, got it. If we substitute in 1, 3 times 1 is 3, so the first number would have to be 3. When f, the first number, is 3, y, the second number, is 1. In like manner, substitute in 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So when f is 6, s is 2. And substituting in 3, 3 times 3 is 9. So when f is 9, y is 3. Let's go ahead and draw a blue line through those points. And I do believe we can tell where we have a magic point. It's not magic, it's mathematics. What is that point? That point would apparently be when x is 18, when f is 18, y is 6. And if you don't believe it, you can always substitute those numbers back in. Is 18 plus 6 equal to 24? It's a true statement. Is 18 equal to 3 times 6? That also is a true statement. So if you make a mistake, you can catch your mistake by checking it. If one is true and the other is false, then you got to go back to the drawing board and find out what went wrong. If both are false, then something's clearly wrong. Now, once again, I'm going to encourage you to pause your video, and I'm going to ask you to try and attempt number 8. I believe you'll see some similarities with the equations on number 8 and number 7. So pause, come on back when you're ready to check your answers. Number 8, you should see an equation with the sum, another equation with the product, and if you were to graph both of those equations, you would find that one solution would be when the f, the first number, is 12 and s, the second number, is 6. And I say one solution, but really that's the only solution that will work for both of those equations. So ladies and gents, with that in mind, you've pretty much just finished half your homework. Go ahead and complete 9 and 10 from that page. Then go ahead and page forward to page 361, where you're going to do numbers 34 and 35. And bring some questions when you got them. Thanks, folks. Let's grow.